The red dust of Mars swirled around Dr. Eliza Kim's boots as she knelt beside her equipment. The morning sun cast long shadows across the rocky landscape near Taeyang 7 colony. She had been taking soil samples for 3 hours, and her back ached. From bending over the drilling machine, another boring day on the red planet, she muttered to herself, wiping sweat from her forehead. The climate suit kept her alive but made everything feel heavy and slow. Her research partner, Dr. Minji Lee, walked up carrying a bag of rock samples. "Find anything interesting today?" Minji asked, setting down her heavy bag with a grunt. "Just more iron oxide and silicon," Eliza replied. "Same as every other day for the past 6 months." The two women had been friends since university back in Seoul. They had dreamed of exploring space together, and now here they were on Mars. But the reality was much more boring than their dreams. Most days were spent collecting rocks and dirt, running tests, and writing reports that nobody on Earth seemed to read. Commander Jiho Park's voice crackled through their radio headsets. "Kim, Lee, how are things going out there?" "All normal, Commander," Minji responded. "We should be done with this sector by noon." "Good. The weather station is showing possible dust storms later. Head back to base if winds pick up." Eliza looked at the clear orange sky. Mars weather could change fast, and dust storms were deadly. She had seen videos of storms that lasted for months and covered the entire planet. "Understood," she said into her radio. The two women continued their work in comfortable silence. They had done this routine so many times they barely needed to talk. Eliza would drill, Minji would collect, and they would move to the next spot. But something felt different today. Eliza couldn't explain it, but the ground seemed to vibrate slightly under her feet. She stopped drilling and looked around. "Did you feel that?" she asked Minji. "Feel what?" "The ground. It's shaking a little." Minji stood still for a moment. "I don't feel anything. Maybe it's the drilling machine?" Eliza turned off the drill. The vibration stopped. She turned it back on. The vibration returned, but it felt stronger than before. "That's weird," she said. She moved to a new spot 20 meters away and started drilling again. The same vibration happened, but this time she noticed something else. The sand around her feet was moving in small patterns, like tiny waves. "Minji, look at this." Her friend walked over and stared at the ground. "What am I looking at?" "The sand." "Watch it." They both stared at the red dust around the drilling site. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, small ripples began forming in the sand. They moved outward from the drill in perfect circles. "That's not normal," Minji said. Eliza turned off the drill. The sand ripples continued for a few seconds, then stopped. "Seismic activity?" Minji suggested. "Maybe, but I've never seen it create patterns like that." Eliza pulled out her handheld scanner and pointed it at the ground. The device beeped and showed readings on its small screen. "What does it say?" Minji asked. "Temperature is normal. Magnetic field is normal. But look at this." Eliza showed her the screen. "There are hollow spaces under us, like tunnels or caves." "How deep?" "The scanner can't tell, but they go deeper." "Than 50 meters, Minji frowned. "That doesn't make sense. This area was mapped years ago. The geological survey showed solid rock all the way down." Eliza looked at the scanner again. The readings were clear. There were definitely empty spaces beneath them. "Maybe the old surveys were wrong," she said. "Or maybe something changed." They looked at each other. Both women were scientists, trained to be skeptical and careful, but they were also curious. Eliza started the drill again, this time on its lowest setting. The sand patterns appeared immediately, more complex than before. The ripples formed spirals and geometric shapes that looked almost purposeful. "We need to call Commander Park," Minji said. But before Eliza could reach for her radio, something else happened. The sand in front of them began to move without any drilling. It shifted and swirled like water, forming a perfect circle about 2 meters wide. "We're not alone," Eliza whispered. "Did you see that?" The sand moved again, this time, creating a series of smaller circles inside the larger one. Something was underneath, and it was responding to their presence. Minji grabbed Eliza's arm. "We need to leave, now." But Eliza couldn't move. She stared at the patterns in fascination. They were too organized to be natural, too complex to be random. "It's intelligent," she breathed. The patterns changed again. This time they formed a series of lines that looked almost like writing. Ancient symbols drawn in the red dust of Mars. "Eliza, please. We have to go." But Eliza was already pulling out her camera, taking pictures of the sand patterns. "This is the discovery of the century, Minji. We can't just run away." More patterns appeared. Triangles, squares, and complex mathematical symbols. Each one was perfectly formed and lasted for exactly 30 seconds before fading away. "It's trying to communicate," Eliza said. Her radio crackled. "Kim, Lee, report your status." Minji grabbed the radio. "Commander, we have a situation out here." "What kind of situation?" Eliza and Minji looked at each other. "How do you explain something impossible?" "We're seeing unusual geological activity," Minji said carefully. "Earthquake?" "No, sir." "Something else." The sand patterns stopped. Everything became still and quiet. Even the constant wind seemed to pause. "We're coming back now," Minji said into the radio. But as they packed their equipment, Eliza noticed something else. The ground around them was covered in tiny holes, perfectly round and evenly spaced. They had not been there an hour ago. "Look," she whispered, pointing at the holes. Minji saw them too. "What are they?" Before Eliza could answer, a small stream of sand began pouring out of each hole. But instead of falling randomly, the sand formed neat little piles that grew into precise pyramid shapes. "We're definitely not alone," Eliza said. The two women grabbed their equipment and started running toward their vehicle. But as they ran, Eliza couldn't help looking back. The sand pyramids were growing larger, and she could swear she saw movement. Deep within the holes, something ancient was waking up beneath the red sands of Mars, and it knew they were there. Back at the colony, Commander Jiho Park was reviewing supply reports when Minji's voice came through the radio again. "Commander, we need to talk to you immediately, in person. Are you hurt?" "No, sir. But we found something. Something important." Park could hear the excitement and fear in her voice. In 10 years of military service, he had learned to recognize when his people had encountered something beyond normal experience. "Come straight to my office when you get back." As Eliza and Minji drove across the Martian landscape toward home, neither of them spoke. They were both thinking the same thing. Their boring routine had just ended forever. Whatever was under the sand had been waiting for them, and now it was awake. Commander Jiho Park stared at the photographs on his desk. The sand patterns were unlike anything he had seen in his 20 years of military service. Perfect geometric shapes, mathematical symbols, and what looked like ancient writing covered the images. "You're certain these weren't there before?" he asked Eliza and Minji. "Positive," Eliza replied. "We've surveyed that area dozens of times. The ground was completely flat yesterday." Park picked up another photo showing the small holes and sand pyramids. "And these appeared while you watched?" "Yes, sir." Something underground was creating them. Park leaned back in his chair. As colony commander, he was responsible for 847 lives. Every decision could mean the difference between survival and disaster on Mars. But he was also a scientist at heart, and this discovery excited him more than anything had in years. "Have you told anyone else about this?" he asked. "No, sir. We came straight to you." "Good. Keep it that way for now." Park stood up and walked to the window overlooking the colony. "I'm calling a meeting with the senior staff. We need more opinions before we decide what to do." 2 hours later, Park sat in the conference room with his core team. Besides Eliza and Minji, He had called Captain Tae Won from security and Dr. Hana Kong from medical. "Let me understand this correctly," Captain Won said after reviewing the photos. "You believe there's intelligent life under our colony?" "Not under the colony," Eliza corrected. "About 5 kilometers away. But the tunnel systems might extend much further." Dr. Kang studied the scanner readings. "These hollow spaces are extensive. If they're natural cave systems, why didn't our original surveys detect them?" "Maybe they weren't there before," Minji suggested. "Maybe something created them recently." "Or maybe something has been hiding them," Eliza added. Captain Won frowned. "Hiding them how?" "I don't know. But the patterns we saw were clearly intelligent. Whatever made them was trying to communicate." Park had been quiet, thinking about options. "What do you recommend, Dr. Kim?" "We need to investigate. This could be the most important discovery in human history." "It could also be dangerous," Captain Won said. "We don't know what's down there or what it wants." "The patterns seemed peaceful," Eliza argued. "Mathematical symbols, geometric shapes. If something wanted to hurt us, why would it try to communicate?" "First," Dr. Kang nodded, "she has a point. But we should proceed carefully." Park made his decision. "We investigate, but with full safety protocols. Small team, heavy equipment, and constant communication with the base." "What about Earth Command?" Captain Won asked. "Shouldn't we report this first?" Park considered this. Earth Command would want them to wait for instructions. That could take months, maybe years. By then, whatever was underground might disappear. Again, "We investigate first, then report," he said. "If we find nothing, there's nothing to report. If we find something important, we'll have real information to share." The next morning, Park assembled his team. Besides himself, Eliza, and Minji, he brought Captain Won for security, Dr. Kang for medical support, and engineer Daeun Song to handle any technical problems. They drove to the site in 2 vehicles loaded with drilling equipment, cameras, and emergency supplies. The sand patterns from yesterday were gone, but the small holes remained. "Start with ground-penetrating radar," Park ordered. Daeun set up the equipment and began scanning. The results appeared on her tablet screen almost immediately. "Commander, you need to see this," she said. Park looked at the screen. The underground space was enormous. Tunnels and chambers extended in all directions, some as large as buildings. "How deep does it go?" he asked. "The radar can't reach the bottom. At least 200 meters down, maybe more." Eliza knelt beside one of the small holes and pointed her flashlight into it. "I can see something," she said. "What?" Park asked. "Light. There's light coming from below." Everyone gathered around the hole. Far down in the darkness, a faint blue glow was visible. "That's not sunlight," Dr. Kang observed. "No," Eliza agreed. "It's something else." Park made another decision. "We're going down." It took 3 hours to set up the repelling equipment over the largest hole. Captain Won went first, followed by Eliza, then the others. The descent was longer than expected, nearly 50 meters straight down. When they reached the bottom, everyone stopped and stared in amazement. They were in a vast underground chamber filled with blue light. The walls were covered with what looked like living crystal formations that pulsed with soft energy. Strange plants with translucent leaves grew everywhere, and the air was warm and humid. "This is impossible," Dr. Kang whispered. "Mars doesn't have the atmosphere to support this." "Maybe it did once," Eliza said, taking readings with her scanner. "The air here is different. More oxygen, more water vapor." Daeun pointed to the walls. "Look at the crystal formations. They're not natural." She was right. The crystals grew in perfect geometric patterns, forming complex networks that looked like circuitry or nerve systems. "They're artificial," Park realized. "Someone built this place." They explored deeper into the chamber. Tunnels led off in multiple directions, each one glowing with the same blue light. The walls showed clear signs of construction, with smooth surfaces and regular patterns. "Commander," Captain Juan called from ahead, "you need to see this." They followed him to a large, circular chamber. In the center was a pool of clear water surrounded by more crystal formations. But what caught their attention were the objects floating in the water. They looked like cocoons or eggs, translucent and oval-shaped. Inside each one, something moved slowly. "They're alive," Dr. Kang breathed. There were dozens of them, maybe hundreds, floating peacefully in the warm water. "Are they the ones who made the sand patterns?" Minji asked. Before anyone could answer, one of the cocoons began to glow brighter, then another. Soon, the entire pool was filled with pulsing light. "They know we're here," Eliza said. The crystal formations on the walls began glowing in response, creating a wave of light that moved through the entire chamber. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "We should leave," Captain Juan said, his hand moving to his weapon. "No, wait," Eliza said. "Look at the patterns." The light was forming the same geometric shapes they had seen in the sand above. Circles, triangles, and mathematical symbols appeared and disappeared on the walls around them. "They're trying to talk to us," she realized. Park watched the light show with growing wonder. Whatever these creatures were, they had built this incredible underground world. They had been living beneath Mars for who knows how long, and now they were trying to communicate with humans. "Take pictures of everything," he ordered. "Document every symbol, every pattern." They spent 2 hours in the chamber, recording and photographing. The creatures in the cocoons became more active, and the light patterns became more complex. It was clearly a form of communication, though they couldn't understand it yet. Finally, Park made the difficult decision to return to the surface. "We have enough for now. We need to study what we've found." As they prepared to leave, Eliza noticed something. The pool of water was cleaner than when they arrived. The crystal formations were brighter. Even the air seemed fresher. "They're not just trying to communicate," she told Park. "They're improving our environment, making it better for us to breathe and survive." Park looked around the amazing chamber one last time. Whatever these creatures were, they didn't seem hostile. If anything, they appeared to be helping. But he also knew this discovery would change everything, for the colony, for Earth, for humanity itself. The question was, were they ready for that change? 3 days after the underground discovery, strange things began happening at Taeyang 7 colony. The air recycling system started working better than ever before. The water purifiers cleaned faster and used less energy. Even the food-growing stations produced bigger vegetables. Engineer Daeun Song noticed it first. She was checking the habitat systems when she found something impossible in the main air processor. "Commander Park," she called over the radio, "you need to see this." Park found her staring at the inside of the air recycling unit with a confused expression. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Look at this." She pointed to the filter system. "These are new components, but we didn't install them." Park examined the strange additions. They looked like tiny crystal formations, similar to what they had seen underground. They were growing inside the machine, improving its function. "How? Is this possible?" he asked. "I don't know, but our oxygen production is up 30% since yesterday." Park called an emergency meeting with his senior staff. In the conference room, they compared notes from different departments. "The water system has the same crystal growths," Dr. Kang reported. "Water quality is better than ever." "Same with the food production units," added Junho Ryu from mining operations. "The plants are growing twice as fast." Captain Juan looked worried. "Something is changing our equipment without permission. That's a security threat." "Or it's help," Eliza suggested. "The creatures underground are making our systems better." "Why would they do that?" one asked. "Maybe they want us to survive here," Park had been thinking about this for days. Dr. Kim, what's your theory about these creatures? Eliza had been studying the photos and recordings from their underground visit. I think they're ancient, much older than humans. They've been sleeping under Mars for thousands, maybe millions of years. And now they're awake? Yes. Our presence triggered their awakening. They're curious about us. Dr. Sora Nam, the colony's psychologist, had joined the meeting to help analyze the situation. If they're intelligent and ancient, they might see us as children. They could be trying to help us survive. Or they could be studying us before they attack, Captain Wan countered. Park made a decision. We go back underground, this time with communication equipment. We try to establish real contact. 2 days later, the team returned to the underground chamber. But everything had changed. The pool was larger, and all the cocoons had opened. Strange creatures moved through the water and across the crystal formations on the walls. They were beautiful and alien at the same time. About the size of large dogs, they had multiple legs and translucent skin that showed internal light patterns. Their heads were elongated with large eyes that seemed to hold intelligence. "They're awake," Minji whispered. One of the creatures approached them slowly. It made no threatening moves, just observed them with obvious curiosity. Its skin patterns shifted and changed, creating the same geometric shapes they had seen before. Hyun. Choi, the communications specialist who had joined the team, set up his modified radio equipment. "I'm picking up electrical signals," he said. "They're communicating with each other." "Can you decode it?" Park asked. "Maybe. Give me time." While Hyun worked on the communications, Eliza studied the creatures. They moved with purpose, tending to the crystal formations and maintaining their underground environment. They had clearly built this place with advanced technology. After an hour, Hyun made a breakthrough. "I think I can convert their electrical signals into patterns we can understand and maybe send signals back." "Try it," Park ordered. Hyun sent a simple mathematical sequence through his equipment. 2 + 2 = 4, 3 + 3 = 6. Basic addition. The creatures stopped what they were doing. Their skin patterns changed rapidly, and then one of them approached the communication device. It touched the equipment with what looked like a hand. Suddenly, numbers appeared on Hyun's screen. 4 + 4 = 8. 5 + 5 = 10. They understood and were responding. Incredible, Dr. Nam breathed. First contact with alien intelligence. Over the next several hours, they established basic communication. The creatures could understand mathematics and simple concepts. They showed the humans images through the crystal formations, pictures of Mars from long ago when it had oceans and a thick atmosphere. The creatures, who the team started calling builders because of their construction abilities, had lived on Mars for millions of years. They had watched the planet die and had gone into hibernation to wait for better times. They've been waiting for someone like us, Eliza realized. Someone who could bring life back to Mars. The builders showed them more images, humans arriving, establishing colonies and slowly making Mars livable again. But in their visions, humans and builders work together. "They want to help us terraform the planet," Park said. Through their communication system, the builders explained that they had been improving the colony's equipment to help humans survive better. They had technologies that could make Mars habitable much faster than human methods alone, but they wanted something in return. They wanted partnership. They wanted to share Mars with humans as equals. Dr. Nam was excited about the psychological implications. "This is unprecedented. An alien species that wants cooperation instead of conflict." But Park was worried about Earth's reaction. "What happens when Earth Command finds out about this?" "We don't tell them yet," Eliza suggested. "Not until we understand more." "We have to tell them eventually," Captain Wan said. "This is too big to hide." One of the builders approached them again. This time it projected an image of Earth's solar system, with ships traveling between planets. It showed humans and builders together on multiple worlds. They're thinking bigger than just Mars, Park realized. They want to help humanity spread throughout the solar system. The implications were staggering. With builder technology, humans could colonize any planet. They could become a true spacefaring civilization in decades instead of centuries. But Park also knew Earth's governments. They would want to control this technology, probably through military force. They might see the builders as a threat instead of allies. "We need time to figure this out," he told his team. "Time to learn their language better and understand their full capabilities." "How much time do we have?" Dr. Kang asked. "Earth expects regular reports. If we stop communicating or give them suspicious information, they'll send ships to investigate." "Then we need to be very careful about what we tell them," Eliza said. As they prepared to return to the surface, the builders gave them a gift, a small crystal formation that could improve any machine it touched. They wanted the humans to test it and see its benefits. "It's a trust gesture," Dr. Nam observed. "They're showing us they want to help." Back at the colony, they installed the builder crystal in the main power generator. Within hours, energy production doubled, and the system ran more smoothly than ever before. But Park couldn't shake his worry. This discovery would change everything for humanity. The question was whether Earth would see it as an opportunity or a threat. Late that night, he sat in his office looking at the reports he needed to send to Earth. How do you explain that humanity is no longer alone in the universe? How do you convince people that aliens want to help instead of conquer? Outside his window, the Martian landscape looked the same as always. But underneath the red sand, an ancient civilization was awakening, and they were offering humanity a chance to reach the stars. Park just hoped humanity was wise enough to accept that gift. 2 weeks after first contact with the builders, communication had improved dramatically. Hyun Choi had developed a translation system that could convert the builders' light patterns into human language. The conversations were basic but growing, more complex each day. The builders had shared their name for themselves through the crystal formations. They called themselves the Keepers of Worlds in rough translation. They had once maintained thousands of planets across the galaxy, helping life flourish wherever they found it. "We are the last," the lead builder communicated through flashing patterns on the chamber walls. "Our people died when the stars grew cold and distant. We sleep and wait for new life to find us." Eliza had become the primary translator, spending hours each day in the underground chamber. The builders seemed to prefer communicating with her, perhaps because she had been the first to recognize their intelligence. "Why did you choose to help us?" she asked during one session. "Your people are strong. You come to Dead World and make life. You do not give up when things are hard. This is good. This is why we wake." The builders explained that they had been monitoring human radio signals for decades. They had watched humanity's struggles and achievements through television broadcasts and internet communications that reached Mars. "We see your wars, your pain, your hope," the builder continued. "Your people fight, but also help each other. You explore even when afraid. You are ready to grow beyond your birth world." But the peaceful learning period was about to end. Commander Park had been avoiding Earth Command's requests for detailed status reports. He knew he couldn't delay much longer. The inevitable happened on a Tuesday morning. General Woo Jin Lim's face appeared on the communication screen, his expression stern and suspicious. "Commander Park, your recent reports lack important details. What exactly are you hiding from us?" Park had prepared for this moment, but his heart still raced. "We've discovered some unusual geological formations, sir. We're still investigating. Geological formations don't improve colony efficiency by 40%, Commander. Our satellites show your power output has doubled. Your life support systems are performing beyond their design specifications. Explain." There was no hiding it anymore. Park took a deep breath. "We've encountered indigenous life on Mars, sir. Intelligent life. The silence on the communication link lasted nearly a minute. When General Lim spoke again, his voice was cold. You discovered alien life and didn't report it immediately? That's a court-martial offense, Commander. Sir, we needed to understand the situation before making any reports. These beings appear peaceful and helpful. That's not your decision to make. You're to cease all contact with these creatures immediately. We're dispatching Fleet Admiral Kang with a full battle group. They'll arrive in 60 days. General, that's not necessary. These aliens aren't hostile. Any alien contact is potentially hostile, Commander. You and your people are to remain at the colony and await military support. That's an order. The communication ended, leaving Park staring at a blank screen. 60 days until Earth's military arrived. 60 days to figure out what to do. He called an emergency meeting with all senior staff. The mood in the conference room was tense. Earth is sending warships, he announced. They want to secure the alien technology by force. What does that mean for the builders? Eliza asked. Nothing. Good. Earth sees them as a potential threat and a resource to exploit. Captain Wan, who had been quiet during recent meetings, finally spoke up. Maybe Earth is right. We don't really know what these aliens want. They could be manipulating us. They've done nothing but help us, Eliza argued. They've improved our equipment, made our air cleaner, helped our food grow better. How is that manipulation? Maybe they're fattening us up for something worse. Dr. Nam shook her head. I've observed their behavior for weeks. They show curiosity, patience, and genuine concern for our welfare. These aren't the actions of predators. Hyun had been translating builder communications during the meeting. They're asking what the loud signals from space mean, he reported. They detected Earth's military transmissions. Park realized the builders knew about the approaching fleet. What did you tell them? Nothing yet. I wanted to ask you first. Tell them the truth. Our home world is sending soldiers because they're afraid. Hyun typed the message into his translation system. The response came quickly. They understand fear, he read. They say fear makes beings do bad things. They ask if we want their help, to defend ourselves. The room fell silent. The builders were offering to help them fight Earth's military. That would be declaring war on Earth, Captain Wan said. Or it would be declaring independence, Eliza countered. Park felt the weight of the decision crushing down on him. Choose Earth and lose the greatest discovery in human history. Choose the builders and become traitors to their own species. What kind of help are they offering? He asked Hyun. More light patterns flashed on the communication device. They can enhance human bodies for Mars living. Stronger lungs, better radiation resistance, longer life. They can also provide defensive technologies. Dr. Kang looked interested despite the situation. Enhanced physiology? How? They use the same crystals that improved our machines, but they integrate them into living tissue. The process is permanent and irreversible, so we would no longer be fully human, Captain Wan observed. We would be better adapted humans, Eliza corrected, evolved for life on Mars and other worlds. The debate continued for hours. Some colony members wanted to submit to Earth's authority. Others wanted to accept the builders' help and declare independence. Park realized they needed more information. Dr. Kang, what are the medical implications of this enhancement process? I would need to study it carefully. The builders would have to show us exactly what they're proposing. And the defensive technologies? Park asked Hyun. They're being vague about that. They say they prefer not to use weapons, but they can protect what they value. Over the following days, volunteers came forward to learn more about the enhancement process. Eliza was the first, followed by Minji, Hyun, and surprisingly, Dr. Kang herself. If we're going to make this choice, we need to understand what we're choosing, Kang explained. The builders demonstrated the enhancement process on willing volunteers. The crystal integration was complex but apparently painless. The volunteers reported feeling stronger, breathing easier in the Martian atmosphere and thinking more clearly. "It's like becoming the person you were meant to be," Eliza described after her enhancement. "I can feel the planet around me. I understand how the ecosystem works." But not everyone was convinced. Captain Juan and about a third of the colony wanted to remain loyal to Earth. "This is still our species," Juan argued. "Our families are on Earth. We can't just abandon them." "We're not abandoning them," Park replied. "We're pioneering a new way forward. When Earth sees what we've accomplished, they'll understand. Or they'll destroy us as traitors and aliens." The approaching deadline forced Park to make the hardest decision of his life. With 30 days until Earth's fleet arrived, he called for a colony-wide vote. The results were close. 54% voted to accept builder enhancement and declare independence. 46% wanted to remain loyal to Earth. "This is how democracy works," Park announced. "The majority has spoken. Anyone who wants to return to Earth when the fleet arrives is free to do so." But he knew it wouldn't be that simple. Earth's military wasn't coming to give people choices. They were coming to secure alien technology and eliminate any threats. The colony was about to become a battlefield, and humanity would never be the same again. The Earth fleet arrived exactly 60 days after General Lim's warning. 12 warships appeared in Mars orbit, their weapons pointed at the surface. Admiral Kang's voice came through every communication device in the colony. "This is Fleet Admiral Kang of the Earth Defense Force. Colony Taeyang 7. You are ordered to surrender all alien artifacts and personnel involved in unauthorized contact. Comply immediately or face military action." Commander Park stood in the colony's main communications center, surrounded by his enhanced and unenhanced people alike. The crystal integrations had spread to over half the colony population. Those who had chosen enhancement looked different now, their eyes brighter and their movements more graceful. "Admiral Kang, this is Commander Park. We request permission to explain our situation." "There's nothing to explain, Commander. You've been compromised by alien influence. Prepare for immediate evacuation." Eliza, now serving as the primary liaison with the builders, received an urgent message through her enhanced senses. "The builders are asking if we want protection," she told Park. "What kind of protection?" "They're not specific, but they seem very confident they can keep us safe." Captain Juan, one of the few senior staff who had refused enhancement, shook his head. "This is insane. We're talking about fighting Earth's military. We're talking about protecting our right to choose our own future," Park replied. Young engineer Young-Ho Bae, who had been enhanced just days earlier, stepped forward. "Commander, I've been working with the builders on their defensive systems. You need to see what they can do." He led them to the colony's main power station, where builder crystals had grown into complex formations. "They've been preparing for this since they detected Earth's fleet," he explained. The crystals pulsed with energy, and suddenly the colony was surrounded by a shimmering barrier of light. Through the transparent dome, they could see the Martian landscape, but everything outside looked slightly blurred. "It's a defensive shield," Young-Ho explained. "Energy weapons can't penetrate it. Physical objects bounce off, and it makes us invisible to most sensors." Admiral Kang's voice came through the communications again, but now he sounded confused. "Taeyang 7, respond immediately. Our scans show your colony has disappeared." Park smiled grimly. The builders had given them a chance to negotiate from a position of strength. "Admiral, we're still here. We're protected by technology you don't understand. We'd like to discuss terms." "There are no terms, Commander. Stand down your defenses and surrender." "I'm afraid we can't do that. For the next 3 days, the Earth fleet tried everything to break through the builder shield. Energy weapons, missiles, even kinetic bombardment had no effect. The colony remained safe and invisible, but Park knew this standoff couldn't last forever. Earth would send more ships, bigger weapons. Eventually, they might find a way through the defenses. "We need a permanent solution," he told the colony leadership. The builders had been busy during the standoff. They had expanded their underground chambers and created new facilities. Through Eliza, they made an offer. They want to share their full technology with us, she explained. Not just enhancement and shields, but everything. Faster than light travel, terraforming equipment, weapons that can protect whole solar systems. What do they want in return? Dr. Kang asked. Partnership. They want us to help them restore life to dead worlds across the galaxy. They want humanity to become the new keepers of worlds. The implications were staggering. Humanity could leap from a single-planet species to a galactic civilization almost overnight. But there's a condition, Eliza continued. Only enhanced humans can handle their advanced technology. The crystal integration changes our brains as well as our bodies. We can process information faster, think in new ways. So we have to stop being human to become something greater, Dr. Nam observed. We become better humans, Minji corrected. Humans adapted for life among the stars. Park called for another colony vote. This time, the choice was even more momentous. Accept full builder partnership and become a new kind of human, or remain as they were and eventually be forced back to Earth. The enhanced colonists voted unanimously for partnership. Many of the unenhanced also supported the decision, though some remained uncertain. What about our families on Earth? Asked one of the holdouts. We'll find a way to bring them here if they want to come, Park promised. Or we'll visit them once we have faster-than-light travel. And if Earth attacks us, we'll defend ourselves. But we'll also try to show them what we've accomplished. Maybe they'll understand eventually. The final vote was 73% in favor of full partnership with the builders. The colony had chosen its future. The transformation began immediately. The builders brought more advanced enhancement technology to the surface. Volunteers underwent deeper integration, gaining abilities that seemed almost magical. They could communicate directly with builder technology, sense changes in the planet's ecosystem, and even survive in Mars's atmosphere without life support for short periods. Young-Ho Bei became the first human to pilot a builder spacecraft. The small vessel could travel between planets in days instead of months. It responds to thoughts, he explained after his first flight. The ship and pilot worked together as one entity. Dr. Kang led the medical research team studying the enhancement process. We're not losing our humanity, she concluded after weeks of testing. We're expanding it. Enhanced humans still have the same emotions, the same values, the same creativity that defines our species. But they also had new capabilities. Enhanced humans were stronger, smarter, and more adaptable than baseline humans. They could survive in environments that would kill unenhanced people. Admiral Kang grew frustrated with the stalemate. Commander Park, this is your final warning. Lower your defenses and surrender, or we will use nuclear weapons. Admiral, nuclear. Weapons won't penetrate our shields any better than conventional ones. Maybe not, but the radiation will contaminate the entire area. Your people will eventually have to come out. Park realized Earth was prepared to destroy Mars's surface rather than let the colony remain independent. But the builders had anticipated this too. They're offering to relocate us, Eliza reported. There's a planet in the next solar system that's perfect for human habitation. We could start fresh there. Run away? Captain Wan asked. Strategic withdrawal, Park corrected. We take what we've learned and build something better somewhere else. But many colonists didn't want to abandon Mars. They had worked too hard to make it habitable. There's a third option, Young-Ho suggested. The builders have shown me their weapons technology. We could disable Earth's fleet without destroying it. You mean fight back? I mean demonstrate that we're not the same weak colony they left behind 60 days ago? Park considered the options. Run, surrender, or fight. None of them was perfect, but humanity had always grown stronger through adversity. Show me these weapons, he said. The builder weapons were unlike anything humans had ever seen. They used focused energy fields to disable electronic systems without harming people. A single shot could shut down a warship completely. It's like A super-advanced electromagnetic pulse, Young-Ho explained, but targeted and reversible. Park made his final decision as colony commander. We make a demonstration, disable one ship, then offer to talk. The next day, the builder weapons activated. In seconds, Admiral Kang's flagship went dark. All power systems shut down, all weapons offline. The ship was helpless but undamaged. Admiral Kang, this is Commander Park. As you can see, we have capabilities you didn't expect. We're willing to restore your ship's power in exchange for negotiations. The silence lasted for 10 minutes. When Admiral Kang finally responded, his voice was different. Respectful instead of commanding. What are your terms, Commander? Recognition of Mars as an independent world. Permission for enhanced humans to travel freely between Earth and Mars. And time to prove that our partnership with the Builders benefits all humanity. I don't have authority to negotiate those terms. Then contact someone who does. We'll wait. Park knew this was just the beginning. Earth would send diplomats, scientists, and eventually more military forces. But humanity had taken its first step toward becoming a galactic species, and the Builders had found worthy partners for their ancient mission to spread life throughout the stars. 6 months after the standoff with Earth's fleet, Mars looked completely different. The red planet now had patches of green where Builder technology had begun terraforming the surface. Rivers of clean water flowed through valleys that had been dry for millions of years. The sky showed hints of blue where the atmosphere was thickening. Dr. Eliza Kim stood on a hilltop overlooking New Seoul, the expanded colony that now housed over 3,000 people. Half were enhanced humans who had come from Earth to join the partnership with the Builders. The other half were unenhanced humans who worked alongside them as equals. The transformation is remarkable, Dr. Kang said, joining Eliza on the hill. Kang had chosen enhanced integration months ago and now served as the chief medical officer for the new world. The Builders say this is just the beginning, Eliza replied. In 10 years, Mars will have breathable atmosphere everywhere. In 20 years, it will be as green as Earth. Below them, enhanced humans worked side by side with Builder creatures, installing new terraforming equipment. The sight still amazed visitors from Earth, but it had become normal life for Mars colonists. Commander Park, now President Park of the Mars Republic, approached them with a smile. His enhancement had given him increased stamina and sharper thinking, perfect for leading a world in rapid transformation. The Earth delegation just landed, he reported. Secretary General Chen wants to tour the terraforming facilities. What's Earth's position now? Dr. Kang asked, cautiously optimistic. They've stopped calling us traitors and started calling us pioneers. The change in Earth's attitude had come gradually. When Mars colonists began sharing Builder medical technology that could cure cancer and extend human life, opposition on Earth weakened. When they demonstrated faster-than-light communication that connected Earth to Mars instantly, even the military leaders became interested. They want the technology without the enhancement, Eliza observed. Some of it works that way, Park admitted. But the really advanced stuff requires integrated humans to operate. This had become the central issue in Earth-Mars relations. Earth wanted Builder technology, but feared the changes that came with it. Many Earth humans saw enhancement as the end of natural humanity. Hyun Choi, now Mars's chief communications officer, joined the group. I just received a message from the Proxima colony expedition. They've reached the new planet and confirmed it's perfect for human habitation. The Proxima expedition was Mars's first attempt to spread enhanced humanity to other star systems. Using Builder faster-than-light ships, they had reached Proxima Centauri in just 3 months. Any signs of life there? Park asked. Primitive plant life, but no intelligent species. The Builders confirmed it's safe for full terraforming. This was part of the Builders' philosophy. They only helped establish colonies on worlds without existing intelligent life. They were protectors and gardeners, not conquerors. Captain Wan, who had eventually chosen enhancement after seeing its benefits, approached the group. President Park, the Earth delegation is asking about military applications of builder technology. What? Did you tell them? That we don't develop weapons, but I showed them our defensive systems. The Mars Republic had become the most secure place in the solar system. Builder shields protected not just the planet, but every ship that traveled between worlds. Pirates and hostile governments couldn't touch Mars vessels. They want defensive technology for Earth? Eliza asked. They want protection from us, Juan said bluntly. Some Earth leaders still think we're planning to invade. Park sighed. Earth politics remained complicated even as Mars society grew more unified. We need to keep proving our peaceful intentions. The proof came in many forms. Mars regularly sent medical supplies to Earth, sharing builder healing technology freely. Enhanced humans served as ambassadors, demonstrating that they were still recognizably human despite their improvements. Dr. Nam, now Mars's chief cultural advisor, had developed integration programs that helped Earth visitors understand enhanced human society. People fear what they don't understand, she explained to Earth delegations. But when they see enhanced humans laughing, crying, creating art, and caring for their families, they realize we're still the same species. The most convincing evidence came from enhanced humans who visited Earth. They could survive in Earth's polluted cities, help with dangerous rescue operations, and work in environments that would kill baseline humans. But they still valued the same things: family, friendship, knowledge, and hope for the future. Young Ho Bae, now Mars's chief engineer, had become a celebrity on Earth after single-handedly preventing a nuclear reactor disaster in Korea. His enhanced reflexes and radiation resistance had saved millions of lives. Enhancement doesn't make us less human, he told Earth media. It makes us capable of being more human, more helpful, more protective, more able to explore and discover. The builders themselves had become less mysterious as communication improved. They shared stories of their ancient civilization, their failures and successes across the galaxy. We were once like you, their spokesman told human audiences through crystal displays. Young, afraid, fighting among ourselves. Enhancement and partnership with other species taught us wisdom. What happened to your original species? Eliza had asked during one conversation. We became something greater. Our bodies changed, our minds expanded, but our hearts remained the same. We learned to value life above all else. The builders revealed that they had guided dozens of species through similar transformations over millions of years. Some had chosen enhancement and joined the galactic community. Others had preferred to remain isolated on their home worlds. Both choices are respected, the builder explained, but only enhanced species can travel between stars and help spread life throughout the galaxy. This became the central message that Mars sent to Earth. Enhancement was not mandatory, but it was necessary for humanity's next evolutionary step. The debate continued on Earth for years. Some regions embraced the technology and sent volunteers to Mars for enhancement. Others banned it entirely and closed their borders to enhanced humans. But slowly, inevitably, Earth began to change. When enhanced humans helped solve climate change, using builder environmental technology, support for the program grew. When they prevented asteroid impacts and solar flare disasters, even skeptics began to see the benefits. Dr. Minji Lee, now Mars's chief terraforming scientist, returned from a successful mission to Europa. The Jupiter moon was being transformed into a water world suitable for human habitation. The ice is melting perfectly, she reported to the Mars Council. We'll have a complete ocean ecosystem within 5 years. Any volunteers for the Europa colony? Park asked. Thousands. Enhanced humans love the challenge of new environments. This was another change in human psychology that enhancement brought. Enhanced humans were more adventurous, more willing to explore dangerous places and try new experiences. They retained human curiosity, but gained the physical capabilities to satisfy it safely. As Eliza watched the sunset over New Seoul, she reflected on how much had changed since that first day when she noticed patterns in the sand. Humanity was no longer confined to one world or even one solar system. Enhanced humans were spreading throughout the galaxy, bringing Earth life to dead worlds and learning from ancient civilizations. But the greatest change was in humanity itself. Enhanced humans were stronger, smarter, and more adaptable, but they had not lost their essential humanity. They still loved, hoped, dreamed, and struggled with the same basic questions that had always defined human existence. "What are you thinking about?" Dr. Kang asked, joining Eliza at the observation deck. "How far we've come, and how far we still have to go." "The builders say we're ready for the next phase," Kang said. "Full galactic citizenship, access to their complete archives of knowledge. Are we ready for that?" "I think so. We've proven we can handle enhancement without losing ourselves. We've established peaceful relations with Earth. We've successfully colonized 3 worlds without harming existing ecosystems." Eliza nodded. Humanity had passed the tests that the builders had set for them. They had shown wisdom, restraint, and genuine desire to help rather than conquer. "What comes next?" "The builders want us to meet other enhanced species, learn from civilizations that made this transition thousands of years ago." The prospect was exciting and terrifying. Humanity was about to join a galactic community that stretched across countless worlds and species, but Eliza felt confident they were ready. The human traits that had allowed them to survive on Earth, explore space, and establish colonies on Mars would serve them well among the stars. Curiosity, adaptability, cooperation, and the refusal to give up in the face of impossible odds. These were the qualities that had impressed the builders and earned humanity a place in the galactic community. As night fell over Mars, Eliza could see Earth rising in the evening sky. Soon she would travel there as Mars's ambassador, continuing the work of bridging the gap between enhanced and baseline humanity. But her real home was here now, on this red world that was slowly turning green. Here, where humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming something greater while remaining fundamentally human. The sand no longer moved in mysterious patterns. Instead, it supported gardens where earth plants grew alongside ancient Martian life forms. The underground chambers that had once hidden sleeping aliens now hosted joint human-builder research centers. And somewhere beneath the surface, new cocoons were forming. Not builder offspring, but something new entirely. The first generation of truly Martian humans, born enhanced and adapted for life among the stars. Humanity's future stretched out before them, vast and full of possibilities. They were no longer alone in the universe, and they never would be again.